welcome to my channel. I'm Rachel, and this week I will be working on this beautiful traditional sideboard buffet. It's one I had my eye on for a while on Facebook Marketplace, but the guy finally dropped the price to $50 and I snagged it. You can see it's in really great shape, but I think the back being ripped up really scared people off, so I was really glad to get it and I'm excited to make it over. I'm going to stain the top and paint the base. So first things first, get all these drawers out because I'll get that all cleaned up, and I'm going to strip the top. I'm using Green Easy Stripper. You can see here how thick it is that I have on there. This is about how much you want to put on there, so you make sure it doesn't dry out and that enough can penetrate down into the finish, and hopefully you can strip it off. I don't know like if it's some like bad furniture polish, but it's put on there, but it's so dirty. I'm gonna get this hardware off. I am not going to reuse this. I'll just donate it. See what the old stain looked like. It's been an hour and a half, so let's see what this does. Wondering how much it's penetrated. I don't know, we'll see. We'll get this all off and cleaned up, and might have to go in with the second round. Whatever lacquer or top coat was put on here is still pretty stubborn. Here it is, basically done. I would have worked a little bit more to try to get some of these little spots that are still there, but I told my daughter I would be done probably like 15 minutes ago, and here we are. Friendly reminder to lay out your towels to dry. It's kind of windy, so it's wanting to fold them back over themselves, but without using acetone, it's flammable. It will dry quickly, but I like to flatten them out and be safer that way. I am not going to keep the original hardware. I'm going to go with something more modern. I played around with the placement, maybe keeping one of the holes, but I don't think it looks right. So I'm going to put one here in the middle. So in the meanwhile, I'm going to fill these holes. I'm going to use this quick wood. Bondo would be a great option, but I don't like how it's going to then be blue on the inside of the drawer where the old hole would be. So I think it just look better if I have something that matches the inside of the drawer better. So that's what I'm going to do here. It's pretty easy. It's a two-part. You can just cut off how much you think you're going to use. I might end up honestly using this whole thing with all the holes I need to fill. I'm hoping that I have enough. So we'll see. I'm gonna get mixing and filling, and then I will get to sanding on the top. And I put painter's tape on the back side of these holes to help it go in more flush. This might be interesting. right, I got them all filled up. Good news, I had enough, so I'll have even a little bit for another project. Now that the holes are filled, I'm going to do some other prep. I'm going to sand this top down to bare wood. I'll start with 80, then go to 120, then 180, and maybe stop at 220. Or maybe stop there, maybe go to 220. For the holes, since it's so much filler that I put in there, those are going to probably have to dry overnight, and then I can check on them tomorrow. So we'll see what I can get done and hopefully make good progress. The bleed through is still pretty bad, so I'm gonna hit it with some acetone before then sanding with the 220. I don't know, we'll see if it works. You know, I had that navy dresser that did a lot of this, and it seemed to work once I got to the higher grits and using acetone, so fingers crossed this works. So that acetone wash seemed to do the trick with the bleed through. I am going to now go ahead and sand it with 220 because I'm going to be using some water-based products on this, and I want to close the grain a little bit more, and hopefully it will be good to go. The bleed through is better. It is definitely not 100% fine, but I'm going to kind of proceed ahead and just kind of experiment and see how it goes. So I am wanting to neutralize this red. And the way you do that is, like, if you look at a color wheel, you would, if you're wanting to balance out the color, you would look at what is the opposite color on the color wheel. So for red, it's green. So I'm doing a green wash. I use just some green paint I have. The specific color, it's Ripe Olive by Sherwin-Williams. Some I just already had in there. And I used about 10 milliliters of paint. I had like an old medicine cup, and this is around 200 milliliters total, it looks like. So what's that? 10, so 19 parts water to 1 part paint. So I'm just going to put this on here just like a paint wash, and then let it dry. And maybe you should have used more green, but this is my first time to do this. We'll just kind of see how it turns out after I put this on there. All right, I'm going to wipe back the excess. I'll get around the edges too. I'm going to do some even wipes across the top. That helps with any streaking. It doesn't look like it's going to streak, but I'm just going to do that for just easy precaution to take. All right, let's see how this dries. Hopefully it dries, looks good. Well guys, it looks terrible. I went back in my footage on my dresser that was having similar issues, and I forgot that I used denatured alcohol. So I'm gonna try that, sand it, see what it does. Otherwise, my husband says it looks like leopard spot, so I can go with the leopard spot look. Anyways, keep working. Hopefully gonna fix this. this is a couple days later, been busy weekends, and I'm now getting to get a good look at this. You can see there's some areas here look much better if that's filled, even still a bit of grain. There are some spots from the old hardware where they were that I'll need to fill. So I'll just go in with the spot and glazing putty by Bondo. I might just use it here too versus doing caulk. I don't know, we'll kind of see. I might not have caulk, so it might be my only option for now. So get that all filled in and then get another coat of primer on. Since there aren't too many spots to sand, I'm going to go in with hand sanding. Okay, sheet is all wiped down and sanded, and time to get that second coat of primer on. So some of y'all may be wondering and remembering about the back where it is messed up. I realized while I was priming, I was like, wait a second, I might have to redo where I'm priming on the interior of this cabinet. So I went to Lowe's, and honestly, I wasn't thinking too much. Like I got this Yucca board. They cut it down to size for me while I was there. So always ask if you have something big. I mean, you can see the excess that I brought home that's over there. If you have something big that you want to have cut down where it's gonna fit whatever you're using it for or fit in your car better, they'll do it. It's typically working, and they're always really nice and helpful. But I just thought about, once it was cut, that this isn't as nice. I mean, this is fine, it's flat, but especially this back, it's not as nice as what you have in here that's kind of veneered and has a grain to it and is consistent with the rest. So what I'm thinking about doing, I'm just gonna peel back this layer of veneer that is already coming off, and then I think I'm just gonna put this on top of there, let this nicer flat area be what's on the back, and then I will be able to keep the nice veneer on the inside, and it shouldn't poke out too much. This is 1/8 of an inch, I believe, especially once that veneer is gone. It will stick out a little bit, but you know, I don't think it's anything that will be problematic. All right, that was pretty easy. I'm almost tempted to keep this for scraps if I'm doing any veneer repair.
Now it's time to paint. I'm using the Ina Crafts paint sprayer. They sent it to me to try out, and I was sincerely impressed with it. It's a great entry-level paint sprayer. They had really good instructions, and I think it just walks you through how to use a paint sprayer for the first time if that's you. Now, is it going to spray as finely as a paint sprayer with a higher price point? No, but this is a really great one to start out if you're looking into one.
So paint is dry, and one thing I noticed as I was painting that these spots where the old holes were dried faster, like kind of quickly. I could see these darker spots. I have not ever had this happen to me before. I put a video out in my stories to ask for help on Instagram, and a couple people mentioned using shellac. I have this spray clear shellac that I'm going to try right now, and if that doesn't work, then I will use the oil-based spin shellac. So I'm going to put this on here, crossing my fingers that it'll work. Unfortunately, that did not work. You can see they are very prominent still. So the next method I'm going to try that someone suggested is filling this with the Bondo spot and glazing putty. And if that doesn't work, someone else suggested just re-drilling the holes and filling it with Bondo. Hoping not to do that with all of them, but I will try that. And if for some reason that doesn't work, I'll go with some kind of adjustable hardware and fill these holes, and might still have that same issue where you would see it, but at least whatever handle is there would camouflage it a bit. Okay, it looks so much better. You can kind of still see a little bit of that, but I think that's probably mostly like direct sunlight is going to make it worse. And to the eye, it's much better than it is on camera. So I feel comfortable proceeding. I'll do the same process with the other drawers and hopefully get this thing closer to the finish line. Now it's time to tackle this stubborn top. These spots just keep hanging around, so I'm going to try oxalic acid in case it's some type of staining that's going on. You just dilute the powder according to the directions on the package, and I'm going to brush it all over the surface and let it sit and dry and see if it maybe fixes the problem. Still looks terrible. I'm going to neutralize it and then just try denatured alcohol and sanding again. We'll see. I'm neutralizing with baking soda mixed into water. Once that is dry, I did a quick sand, wiped it down, and then quickly put on a coat of de-waxed shellac to hopefully keep those spots at bay. Okay, I think it worked. Ooh, it's kind of a little rough, but that's okay. I can fix that. A little bit of a streaky spot there, but it looks really good. Now, I do not think I'll be able to go lighter, but that's okay. I'll just go in with my gel stain. And I mean, you can see there's like one little guy there. But besides that, it's all locked in. That is exciting. So good news is I feel like the streakiness is basically gone. I'll be really interested to see how it accepts stain after having this seal coat on there and what it looks like afterwards. So I'm going to give it a light sanding down, and then I'm going to come in with a gel stain and see how it does. It will be interesting to see how this dries. It's dark, the lighting's not the greatest. So I'm interested to see how it looks in the sunlight. It has a lot more of that red still of the mahogany. I think that's from the seal coat being on there. Not exactly the look I was going for, but we'll just see how it dries. Check in tomorrow. Now it's time to line the drawers for the silverware drawer. I had to remove the velvet liner. Thankfully, it came out pretty easily by just tugging at it and pulling it under the dividers. I've done this on another one like this, so it's a good method to try if you have a similar situation, because oftentimes those dividers are stuck in there pretty good. As the stain dried, it still looked a little too red for what I wanted, so I'm going to tone the top coat that I'm putting in there with a little bit of brown stain that I have on hand. At this, it honestly doesn't feel like it's changed the color much. We'll see what it looks like when it dries. I may try a second round with a little bit more concentration and then just do a final coat to seal it. Before my final coat, I'm doing a wet sand. Basically, you just take some water with a squirt of soap. I'm using Dawn dish soap and a high grit sanding paper and scrub all over, and it gives it a really nice smooth base before your last coat. Okay, so one last thing that I need to do is to put little magnetic catches in here. I have this kit I bought a while back for the Art Deco cabinet that I worked on. It needed something like this. And there were already like catches here originally, it looks like. I see the little screws, so I'm hoping that this will work just fine. My only problem is it might be a little too inset, the current screw holes, so I'm gonna attach it in there, see how it does with opening and closing. Hopefully it doesn't bump this shelf, and we'll see how it goes. All right, I think that's gonna be perfect. So I'm gonna screw this in. You can see here it just has one hole, so I'll add another one and attach the little magnetic piece or the metal piece. It should be good to go, and I'll do that on the other door as well. All right, I had to adjust this a little bit, so let's see if it works. All right. Yeah. Maybe not as like solid as I would prefer, but it latches. Let me see if it pops open. All right, it holds it. I feel like that's a decent test. Before we do the final reveal, let's take a look back at how we started. All in all, it was in really great shape, just a little dated and needed a little refresh, and here it is now. What do you think? I felt like it had a good balance of keeping that traditional core to it, but also looking updated now with the black paint and the hardware. And of course, that top gave me lots of trouble, but I'm so thankful that I stuck with it and was able to get it to look how it is. This sold within just a few days of listing for $650. A lady in Oklahoma purchased it, so this one actually got shipped. So it was a quick sale and I was really grateful. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video. I hope you enjoyed this makeover. As always, I would love to hear from you, and I can't wait to catch you on the next one.